keep striving. And so practicing no in a very different way intentionally. But then this is what makes it hard because, my decision to skip the inauguration, what people don't realize, or my decision to make choices at the beginning of this year that suited me were met with such ridicule and criticism. Like people couldn't believe that I was saying no for any other reason, that they had to assume that my marriage was falling apart,
right.
So
I want to stop it right here. Before we go on, we're going to go on. First off, look at her. So she has totally changed her image from when she was first lady. I want you to see, let me see here. I want to show this really quickly. This was her back when she was in the White House. I mean, she was graceful. She was feminine. Smiley. I mean, I'll be honest with you. When she was in the White House, I liked her. I did. I thought she was elegant. She was graceful, well-spoken. Remember, she was really into the fitness. She was definitely different than she is now. What are your thoughts there, Michelle?
Anytime I see her, I mean, that was the first thought was, that is a fall from grace. She looks terrible. I was going to say it. She looks horrible.
I know.
The whole package. I mean, they're multimillionaires. You have stylists. Somebody let you out of the house, out of the room, looking like that. Who said this is, I don't know who's advising Michelle Obama or who is not, but it's just not it's overall not a good look. Or the personality has changed so drastically. Nothing about Michelle right now says first lady ever.
I know.
That's what's just strange about this whole thing. And you know what? You do have an obligation. As far as I'm concerned, if you or your spouse is elevated to the president of the United States, which represents less than like 0.0001 percent of the world's population, we know how many presidents we've had. Yes, your entire family takes on a prestigious role. You will be forever called the first lady, the president. Get over it. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Besides that, I have no sympathy. You're a multi-millionaire. You've made even more money leaving the White House and causing chaos. But it just looks bad. But you know what? I see a lot of people that are sick and suffering that look bad. And I'm not talking about a physical illness. I'm talking about a spiritual illness. And that can cause you to see things that are just ugly.
Right. I don't know what happened to her. But she does not look like she used to look. And we're going to keep going on this. So she gets into why she did not go to the inauguration. Here she is.
It's like, while I'm here really trying to own my life and intentionally practice making the choice that was right for me, and it took everything in my power to not do the thing that was right, or that was perceived as right, but do the thing that was right for me. Mm-hmm. That was a hard thing for me to do. Mm-hmm. I had to basically trick myself out of it. And it started with not having anything to wear. I mean, I had affirmatively, because I'm always prepared for any funeral, anything. I walk around with the right dress. I travel with clothes just in case something pops off. Mm-hmm. So I was like, if I'm not going to do this thing, I got to tell my team, I don't even want to have a dress ready. Yeah. Right? Because it's so easy to just say, let me do the right thing.
But then you become a shock absorber.
Yeah.
And that's what women are.
Yeah.
Shock absorbers.
Yeah.
And that's exhausting. And it's not healthy.
Yeah.
It is not healthy. Mm-hmm. You've had to be shock absorbers for your husband, for your children, for your mom, for your family, your loved ones, because of where you were sitting in the public eye. That's not fair to you.
So I totally disagree with that. First off, I think she is the first lady in history to skip an inauguration. Even in there's been so many. Hillary Clinton, even after George Bush's inauguration, after George Bush won in 2001, and it was bitter and controversial. Remember, all of the hanging chads, despite Bill Clinton's presidency ending in the Florida recount battle, Hillary Clinton still went to the inauguration. 1993, Barbara Bush attended Bill Clinton's inauguration after George W. Bush lost re-election. She was gracious and respectful throughout. I mean, the list goes on. For generations, this is what women did. And it lends a much larger issue to what these modern women are doing now. We're going to finish this out here. Let's finish this clip, and then I want to get your response, Michelle.
When do you ever get to live for you? I applaud you. I'm happy that you are taking care of yourself in the way that you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is a single woman. She's unmarried. She can't find a man. And she's telling her what to do. So what are your thoughts on this, Michelle?
Well, what's unhealthy is listening to these women. So first off, it's unhealthy. No, listening to you is unhealthy. And since when is doing the right thing wrong? She's literally talking about doing the right thing. And I need to make a choice to not do the right thing. Well, then you made the wrong choice because you're a fool and you're selfish. You are selfish and self-righteous because you went after Melania like nobody's business. All of you did. You talked about that woman like she was trash, like she was the dog, like it didn't matter what she wore. And she was classy. And she said nothing back. A woman who could speak multiple languages, but you wanted to make fun of her English accent. Well, let her say it in French or whatever other language she says it. So that was what frustrates me. And you know what? No, you don't get the right to live for yourself because you live for God if you profess to be a Christian. So you better follow after God and what he tells you to do, not what you say because you feel it that way. You think I'm going to always get up and feed my children? No, but God blessed me with 6 children. So you know what? And a husband, I'm going to get up and I'm going to do what God has called me to do. And that might be doing the laundry. You know, my washer broke down. This is my own personal rant. Washer and dryer broke this week. Easter week. I just took 16 loads to the laundromat today. Had to wash them. You know, I was out $100. But my point is that I did that because I am living that Proverbs life as a mother, as a wife. Yes, I work. I do all kinds of things. And I'm here on the podcast. But that's what you do. And it's the right thing to do. So listening to these women is it's toxic and tiring, and they have all the money in the world. And somebody on here is like, "Oh, leave her alone." Who was that said leave?
Oh, I didn't see it. OMG, that Bill. Leave her, let her alone.
Bill, I love you, but I can't leave her alone. She's got a team. A team. I wish I had a team. I mean, I have one, but they're children, so I'm not going to let them style me. But when you have that type of lifestyle and you have the nerve to complain to the rest of to the rest of us, like, oh, woe is me. You know how many people would trade their lives for that moment, for one day, and what you have?
Right.
No.
I agree with you 100%. And this is this new what's the word? This is this new kind of idea for the modern woman. You know, these women, when Michelle Obama refused to attend President Trump's inauguration, it wasn't just political. It was a statement to an entire generation of young women. When you don't get your way, take your ball and go home. And this is what happens when self-worship, because this is what we're seeing in this culture now with these women. Self-worship replaces self-sacrifice. And our daughters are watching. And instead of wisdom, they're learning how to wallow. One of the reasons why Michelle Obama's podcast is not doing well is because the whole time she's complaining. she reminds me of Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh. Every time she's got this frown on her face the whole time she's speaking. She's like, talking about this. She's complaining about everything, even from the first podcast right on down to the most recent one. She comes off as this big, tall Eeyore. Well, I feel like I didn't have to go. I mean, she's just a drag. Like, I don't understand why anybody would watch her, because it's not uplifting. It's not entertaining. She got this brother on there that looks like her, but with, without a wig. And it's just, it is not something that you would want to spend your time watching. And then just to hear her and this man complain about everything under the sun in this drolling voice. I don't know what happened to her, because she wasn't like that in the White House. I mean, for somebody who was living their life now versus the way she perceives her, or at least her forward-facing attitude when she was in the White House, she looked much happier in the White House. I'll be honest with you.
I dare say, unfortunately for the person that worked for them, these tell-all books would be nice to read, because something is up, something is going on. But like I said, they're just dark. They have just relished and got away with so much sin and then they sit back and then they tell everybody what they should be upset about. There's nothing like far liberal people that do not live in any kind of godliness telling you, all of the poor people, what you should be upset about. So that's what I see when she does a lot of interviews, how angry we should all be. I'm like,
that's what it is, Michelle. It's this feminist rage masquerading as strength. And everything is turned into a grievance. So they've replaced grace and dignity with this grievance about everything. And they hate tradition. So again, this was part of tradition, something that many first ladies have done for ages. No, she's going to disrespect the tradition. She's going to disrespect masculine leadership and family values, and all of it. And she's going to instead model pettiness. It's pettiness over principle. She basically said that.
It is.
Yeah. So, yeah. And it's a shame, because we're seeing a lot of younger women model this. And as you mentioned, sort of the Bible talks about Titus 2:3-5, teach the younger women. And so we are losing that. It's a lost art of feminine strength, rooted in patience, wisdom, and legacy. Those are so important, but they're being tossed aside now for this feminist rage. And it's just unappealing. And then we wonder why so many women are alone right now. No man wants that. They don't want that.
They don't want that anyways. They need to, we've talked about this over and over. Satan needs marriages destroyed anyway. So they need to not be together. He wants them destroyed, break up the family any way you can. And the fact that Taraji talking about it's so hard. You have to absorb this for your husband when you have to absorb that for. Yeah. And you know what? God gave us that ability as women. We were uniquely created to be able to absorb those things, to be able to handle those things. We take stress differently than men. We handle it differently for a reason that is part of our genetic makeup. But I guess if in this society, when you don't even believe that women are women by birth, by genetics, then I'm not surprised.
Right.
Yeah, I count it all joy that I have the ability to take those things on and work, give and take. And apparently at this point, Michelle Obama doesn't even believe in that give and take. Otherwise, she would have been there at the inauguration. She would have understood her role as a former first lady, and she doesn't.
Right. You're absolutely right. And so, again, Michelle Obama's choice was not normal. It broke a long tradition of civility, maturity, and statesmanship, especially expected from someone in her position, And so whether she was physically present or emotionally absent, her posture set a tone of division, not dignity. And guess what? Younger generations are watching. So, and again, taking it back to this clip, these are two women that look miserable. I mean, for all this self-love that these feminists preach, and I'm living my life and all this, these women look miserable. Look at this. Taraji is like queen miserable. Every time I see her, she looks unhinged. She looked like she is this one moment from just going off the deep end. And I feel bad for them. I really do. Because they're never going to find what is going to fulfill them where they're looking. They're not going to find it.
KJ, you took the words out of my mouth. I was literally thinking satisfaction. They will never be satisfied.
Right.
There won't be anything or anyone or any amount of money or notoriety that will satisfy them. And even if they do, it seems that, like Michelle Obama, the satisfaction is only for the moment that she's in full reign and power. So she can't be satisfied in stepping down or taking a different role in life. And God has seasons for us all. So we're supposed to move on to that next season, but apparently they can't. And you're right. They're passing this down. And not only they're passing it down, but something like Michelle Obama, she's passing that down to congressmen and senators. And some of these women that we have in office right now are horrific. And she set an example.
What is going on with these women? Why they look so masculine all of a sudden? And listen, I know you guys have said, people are saying that she's a man. I don't believe she's a man. I don't. But this woman has gone through a transition just within the last several years. When she was in the White House, she looked very feminine. I mean, I know you guys are going to get upset with me, but I thought Michelle Obama was an icon as far as the way she dressed. She was, you may not agree with her politics, and I do not agree with her politics, but I like Michelle Obama as far as her look as a first lady. And then over the last several years, she has just gotten so masculine. She looks a mess. I don't understand what happened.
She was classy. And,
she was classy.
No matter what you believe, her chromosomes at birth, she was always feminine and she was classy. She had a Jackie O style. Their stylists were great. And if she says that she picked out stuff and had it with her at all time, well, she knew how to dress. Right now, I don't know what's happening, but I don't really want to see her out speaking anymore until she can figure that out, because it gets rough. It's worse every time she goes out and makes these big, huge public appearances. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot more, because we're going to be up for all these elections. Maybe she's just having that's like a midlife crisis right there.
It's gotta be.
I mean, that looks like, the guys going out and buying the Corvettes. I guess that's the thing.
I don't know what she's doing. This looks a mess. It's like, it's almost like, Michelle, these women are trying to play some youth. I don't know. And it looks really crazy. It really does. I don't know. But
age gracefully, ladies. That's our message for right now. You should be able to age gracefully and live with joy and peace. But I'm not surprised she doesn't have peace, because if you don't have, and you're not rooted in Christ, you will not have that peace. So you can't share that peace. You can tear people down. You can come after their joy, but there's something in people that can't give that joy. And at some point when she was in the White House, whether it was fake, whether it was pretense, she appeared to have joy. She appeared to be happy. And so that's gone right now. And when you hear her speak, I'm like, man, these women are just angry.
Right. Yeah. Angry. Yeah.
Angry.
Yeah. Well, we will continue to follow that story.